Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Immortality Season 6 Episode 29 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The longevity secrets. There is only a glimmer of life. Everyone wants to compete. This time, Linglong Xianzuan presented us with 3 supernatural powers: Zuma Ancient Spirits, Da Pudu Zhenguan, and Miss Han Wangquan, which was originally a supreme body. The magical power of refining the heart, as long as it is obtained, to the master of the mysterious mystery of our gods, almost immediately can achieve the longevity secret, break through the limit. This opportunity, who will fight for a fight, but also what kind of feelings? Faced with the threat of Fang Han, Wan Lianshan said directly, "When you practice, you are all over the river. If you talk about your feelings, you will have to be broken." Wan Lianshan said that Fang Han, although the mana is strong, that the realm is too low. This time, the teaching of the 3 great supernatural powers, if you get it, how can we be willing? On the longevity list, the 5th rank Tongqian Jianpai Jiafei Road. Well, I will come to teach you about the magical swordsmanship. Fang Han smiled very insidiously. You are the leader among the 2 devils. Although I am a fairy goddess, I am a fellow practitioner of the fairy tales, but I am talking about the celestial fellows. I am going to teach the exquisite fairy, and I have come up with 3 majors. The meaning of supreme mastery is to carry forward and carry forward. This time, the young talents of the 2 geniuses, the masters of the mysterious secrets, can play at the birthday banquet, and the winner is the king. Next to Linglong Xianzuan, a giant elder woman suddenly opened her mouth. The sound rolled, and the noise of the whole audience was overwhelmed. Then, the sacred light of the sacred light on the sacred gold suddenly became a high platform, 3,000 feet in length, standing in the void. At this time, Linglong Xianzuan waved his hand and suddenly flew out 3 symbols on his finger. The old black color appeared like the shell of a fierce behemoth in ancient times. At first glance, he revealed his indestructible protection ability. This symbol is a kind of supernatural power, Zuma Ancient Spirit. The master of the magical transformation of the gods, even if it is the cultivation method of the Zuma Ancient Spirit, it is necessary to cultivate such a magical power, but also hundreds of years of hard work. And Linglong Xianzuan, as long as 1 or 2 years, you can cultivate such a way. There is also a symbol, the Buddha's light flashes, and there is a faintly golden Buddha in it. It sings, and when it is heard in the human ear, it produces a kind of sincere and pure faith. Undoubtedly, this supernatural power is the great Pudu Zen light that Fang Han dreams of. After possession, you can immediately increase the power of the 5 elements of the earth, the power of the 6-word mantra, and thus infinitely enhance the power of the 8-headed buzzard. The last one is like a simple mounting character, but also a golden light. Once suppressed, you can kill the 10 evil spirits. This is the Da Shou Miss Han King boxing. There are 3 supernatural powers, and each one will gain strength after it is obtained. Not to mention 3. Dear friends, this time I have lived for 4,000 years, and there is no good program for everyone to appreciate. I have set up this downfall, let the 2 masters of the fairy magic go up and try again. The color head is the 3 great supernatural powers. The younger generations of the mysterious secrets can go up and try their hands. As for the giants of the longevity, don't compete with the younger generations. Everyone will be happy at the birthday party. Linglong Xianzuan said slowly, well, you will wait and see. This time, the ancient giants of the longevity secret can't participate, and Linglong Xianzuan originally added fun to his birthday party. There is a program to enjoy. However, the color of this show is also too heavy. Hey! The words of Linglong Xianzuan have just been lost. I just got the Wanlian mountain, which was transformed into the body of Xuantianju. I stepped over to the platform where the sacred light of the sacred **** was condensed, and a sword in the palm of the hand ejected the sheath. Xiao Xiao, who is going to fight with me? For the exquisite birthday of Linglong Xianzuan, add something exciting. This time, I came to worship the gods of the mysterious secret master. Van Hoff did not come, the smoke did not come, Hua Qian did not come. Wan Lianshan could have been a hero, but unfortunately a Fang Han. However, he dedicated the most precious 9-day Xian Nu-2, and he received the magical power of Xian Qian Jiuchang on the spot. The body is full of body and confidence is greatly increased. I think that even if it is against He Tian, it will not failure, so I am upset and ready to fight. If Wan Lian Mountain really forces the heroes, they will get the 3 great supernatural powers. After going back to practice hard, after a year and a half, they can really achieve the first longevity and longevity. Wan Lianshan, breath is too strong, no one is willing to take the shot first. Fang Han is also secretly trying to figure out his own wind and fire robbery, want others to try water first. Fang Han, can you come to fight with me? I want to see if your strength is so powerful, can you compare it with the smoke, He Tian, and Fan Qingying? Wan Lian Mountain suddenly turned a corner and pointed to Fang Han to challenge. Fang Han was named as a surname and challenged, and he did not hesitate. When the body moved, there were countless shocks between the moments. He had already reached the top of the empty platform, and looked at it. The masters who had come to worship on the mountain in Jinshan looked forward to yourself. Linglong Shenzhen is a good means to make such a big scene to increase the excitement of the birthday ceremony. In the future, I am afraid I will be greeted by the fairy magic. I will talk about it. Fang Hanxin secretly calculated that Wan Lingshan was sent to Linglong Shenzhen. A magical metamorphosis of the mysterious world. He is not awkward, after all, the other party's gift is too expensive. It turned out to be the handwriting of the emperor, drawing a 9-day girl. If Linglong Shenzhen does not express it, who will come to trust her after that? This is a very balanced approach and it doesn't matter. Wan Lianshan, you really want to play against me, but I tell you. When I came to visit this life, both Yang Shui and Fan Qingying came to kill me. But I was rushed out. How do you think? With your strength, you can counter the smoky water of the Sea of the Gods? Fan Qingying's big chaotic Lei Jian. Fang Han went up to the ring, the voices fierce, on the Wan Lianshan road, scared this person. What? You and Yang Shui, Fan Qingying have handed over. Wan Lianshan was shocked. If you have such strength, why not go back and kill Hua Tiandu? You have a 10-year life and death agreement with him, now it's still too late to get rid of the roots. Hey! I don't kill him. Naturally, there is my reason. He is among the martial art. There are a few giants guarding him. The 10-year covenant has not arrived. I can't rush to kill him. But even if he is now practicing in the longevity secret, I only need to smash it, and I will kill him as an ant. Fang Han now wants to kill He Tianju, but there are some sects in the martial art to disturb the wind and rain, and He Tian is also not killed. It's not difficult to have a top grade. Moreover, the 10th anniversary has not arrived. When he cultivated to the supernatural powers of the Shentong, the 8 floats and the ferry of the sun and the moon, even if they cannot break through the longevity secrets, they cannot be afraid. At that time, it is the death of Hua Tiandu. Even after breaking through the longevity of the longevity, it is better to die than to be a child. Ru Yizi is even worse than the autumn drizzle, far from wishing to be undead. Fang Han is now working with him, but he can also retreat from the whole body and not be injured. Fang Hanxiong must be bragging. Van Ho and the smoke and water together, the power of 2 pieces of the upper class, can kill the giants of the longevity. Is Fang Hanxiong think that it is the point? Even if Fang Hanxiong arrived here one step, I have to try it too. I have not dealt with the Van Ho giant. Wan Lianshan was not intimidated, but the war broke out because this time he must have no life. It is impossible to fight with the master of Fang Han. There was no intimidation to him. It seems that only hard to come. Fortunately, the fire smashing in my Jindan was blocked by the Great Wish. I am responsible for using only 30% of the power. I am sure I can't beat this person. If you lose a lot, don't say anything about your face, don't even think about it. Fang Han pointed a bullet, a fire shot, but it was the Red Emperor. A long snake-like fire, electric fire shuttle, directly killing the deep hole in the eyes of Wan Lian Mountain. I started to do it. Fang Hani did not fly out of Jindan, and played 100 million horses. It is a tentative shot. The first thing he needs to do is to find out what kind of baby is in the Wan Lianshan. Second, he is afraid of excessive force and triggers the fire of Jin Dan's core. Red Emperor Fire. Wan Lianshan saw the fire coming, although it was a fire line, but the airflow around it seemed to be ignited. The fire poisoning penetrated into his body and suffocated and directly attacked into the meridians. His body is also burning like a torch. Puff. Wan Lianshan opened a mouthful of water vapor. This water vapor turned out to be a blue and white color. Every drop of water has 1,000 strengths. It is actually a $1 heavy water that is cultivated by itself, and it extinguishes all fires. It is the nemesis of the fires in the world. In particular, this $1 heavy water is integrated into its own mana, and the water system that is cultivated is the most powerful. In addition, the realm of Wan Lian Mountain is much higher than the square cold. The magical power is 10 heavy, and the quality of the suffocating gas is extraordinary. Only one time, the flames of the whole body are destroyed, and then the sound of the sea waves is smashed, and the wind is swept back to Fang Han. It seems to be wrapping a square cold into a big water polo. Fang Han, if you only have this means, you can go down. Wan Lianshan ha. Smiled, the water polo narrowed and squeezed inward, and the square cold was crushed and crushed. 1 yuan of heavy water is extremely heavy, and 1 drop can kill people directly. Hey! At this time, the square cold in the water polo suddenly disappeared without a trace. At the side of Wan Lian Mountain, there was a sword-like crystal man, instantly killing, cutting down. Actually it was Bidi Golden Emperor instant killing, more fierce than the Tao. The instant killing of the feather door must be down. The Emperor of the White Emperor, the peak of all the golden magical powers between heaven and earth. Fang Han this time is a pure skill, using the Fire Emperor to seduce the water system magic of Wan Lian Mountain, and then suddenly display the Black Emperor Water Emperor fist out, the White Emperor Golden Emperor smashed. The 5 elements are used, and the peak is very small. Fang Han's 5 emperors and great devils practiced to the extreme, and they used it to be the peak of the peak. They used to break the Taoist temperament, various magic weapons, and restrained all 5 magics. Although Wan Lian Mountain was the first true disciple of Wangguixian Island, the main practice is the water system. After all, Wangguixian Island is at sea, and it is most convenient and simple to collect the essence of sunflower water. Moreover, the water of Kuai Shui moisturizes all things, prolongs life, regulates vitality, and prolongs life. The breath is longer, and it is cheaper than others. However, Fang Han and Yang Shui once fought, and the use of water system magical powers has improved. The smoke and water is the reincarnation of the **** of water, and no one in the world can use it for the use of water system. Fang Han used the Emperor of the Black Emperor, and he was faintly restrained by the Bohai Gulang's Hang. However, after the fight, Fang Hanjun grinded out the magical effects of many water systems, so when fighting with Wan Lian Mountain, the other parties, in the face of one's own heavy water, it is simply a child's trick. Almost a little use of the Black Emperor Shui Huangquan's shackles to get out of the way, and then display the White Emperor Golden Emperor. Not good. Wan Lianshan was shocked, and there was a milky white suffocating squirt from the pores, which formed a blossoming lotus flower and hardened the sword of the White Emperor. Boom! All the white lotuses were scattered by a sword, and Wan Lianshan was completely smashed by hundreds of feet, and was almost caught under the ring. This sun, actually so fierce. For the water system magical powers, I am more profound than I understand. Fortunately, I have just grown up in a flesh, combined with the magical power of Xiantian 9, otherwise this sword will give me my body. Wan Lian although the mountain was smashed, but in the air, the milky white suffocating body instantly condensed into a set of armor. The style is simple and soft, but above the armor, the runes are faint, the big array is running, and the mana is flowing. Obviously, this is a different treasure. A purely defensive underproduct. Wan Lian Mountain actually has a Tao. However, it is not uncommon for him to have a product of the next class, as his first true disciple. Basically, the top 10 masters on the longevity list are all possessed. Of course, the Shangpin Road, only the Van Hoff shadow, the smoke water, Hua Qian can have. Xian Qian Gui Ling Bai. Fang Han's eyes moved, and he remembered the famous magic weapons of Wangguixian Island in the Worlds. This is a purely defensive magic weapon. There is no offensiveness, but it is the best defensive darling. After wearing it, it feels a little dangerous. It immediately emerges, and the response is quick. It can even resist the full strength of the long-lived mysterious giants. If Fang Han uses all the power of Jin Dan, he may be able to break the Xian Qian Gui Ling, but now he can't. Oh. This magic weapon is good. Just like this, I want to beat me? I am so crazy. I will show you the golden dragon of 90 kinds of magical powers. Let me see how powerful you are. After Wan Lianshan reacted, he urged Xian Qian to return to the spirits, and the milky white suffocating smashed the sea and completely smashed the sword. Xian Qian 9 changes, the sea ****** incarnation. With Xian Qian Gui Ling Yu, to protect himself, Wan Lianshan broke out his own gods, the sea waves of the road, appearing out of thin air, the tide of the tide formed by the sea wave's head, blue body scales, holding a trident, holding a sea flag, dancing sea otters, rivers, all kinds of instruments of the sea god, stepping on the tide. On the entire platform, all of them have become the world of the sea. The tides of the stocks and the heavy waters have shrouded Fang Han again. This Wanlian Mountain is not the strongest person on the list of longevity candidates. In his world of lore, there are 45 kinds of magical powers, which is really powerful. It's amazing. This person is ranked above me. It's not unreasonable. The sea ***** incarnation, the wave of the towering tide, the oppressive impact, the billions of years of marine essence, all condensed in the gods. Xian Qian 9 became great, the flesh show Yuan is even more powerful. If it is for him to win the 3 supernatural powers, it will take time, and I am afraid that it will be a Hua Qian, a smoke, a Van Hoff shadow. Tongjian Jianpai, the 5th-ranked strongman on the list of longevity candidates, Fei Fei, saw that Wan Lianshan flew out of his own incarnation of the sea god, the heavens and the earth, could not help but sigh, and the heart rose with a strong vigilance. 10 Taoist gates, the first true disciple of the 7 devils of the magic road, are compared with each other to see who is powerful. Although the 6 leagues have discharged the longevity list, no one is convinced. Of course, the 2 masters of Yang Shui and Hua Tiandu are indeed pressing on everyone. No one is fighting with them, not because of anything else. They have the top quality equipment in their hands and they are so powerful. This time, the first true disciples of these 2 demon gods are full of strength, and they want to take the lead in the life of Ling Long Shenzhen and win the 3 great supernatural powers. And almost all of the fairy tales and the first true disciples, when they came out, they all got the tactics of Zhong, and brought the magic weapon that they can bring, and the strength was raised to the peak. Magic Shui is also a competitor this time. Looking at the ring, Fang Han and Wan Lianshan's fight, Jiao Fei glanced at the 2 disciples who were qualified to go to the stage, but they stopped their eyes on the devil. Although the devil is not old, but everyone knows that this is a genius. I have never been unsure of doing things, and I have never suffered a loss. This time, the strength of the advancement and the blood dance young is not down, and his old man should be innate, very powerful. The calculations are profound, and some of the most powerful magical Taoist teachers have suffered from the loss of the congenital emperor. Wan Lianshan, there is also a Chinese-style device. The last group meeting, many masters are defeated in his mysterious Chinese style, so he has always occupied the 4th place in the longevity list. The position, this time I don't know if Fang Han can't resist his middle-quality device? Fang Chun's Huang Quan Tu, why hasn't it appeared? Is there any change? Jiao Fei squats in the dark. Fang Han got the thing of Huang Quan Tu, everyone knows it, but since entering the exquisite land, no one has ever seen him use this legendary magic weapon. He has to wonder if this magic weapon is out. Problem. Because in the ring, Fang Han is obviously caught in a struggle, and the previous violent bravery, the 4 palms defeated the blood dance young, breaking the blood of the furnace is very different. Wanlian Mountain exhibited the Poseidon incarnation, and the 45 kinds of magical powers condensed into the heavens and the earth, full of sea waves, tide heads, 1 yuan of heavy water, and rich water spirits, which also changed the Crystal Palace and even the sea. All kinds of scenes, and the Dragon King traveled. I completely trapped Fang Han in it. Although Fang Han displayed the Black Emperor Water King in it, he was able to use his fists and bombardment from time to time, but all of them were resisted by Xian Qian Guiling, and the protection of this device could not be broken. Even if people who are weaker in their eyes are seen, Fang Han is already at a disadvantage, and Wan Lianshan has controlled the situation. What happened? How did Fang Han become so weak? And the 6 giants, the giants of Mr. Water Mirror, the doubts. I have already seen it. Fang Han's Jin Dan is deep, and the fire has already come. He certainly can't use his full strength now. Otherwise, he will not be able to suppress the fire, it will be completely triggered, and the whole body will be burned. With his supernatural powers, the fire are so powerful that they can't be imagined. From the inside to the outside, they are immediately burned to the ashes. 6 dazzling people smiled and said, "How?" Mr. Shuijing, I am right. Fang Han's Jin Dan is really too rebellious. In the midst of it, it also reverses the rules of heaven. The fire and the robbery are much more terrifying than we think. Well, it's not bad, but it's not an opportunity. Mr. Shuijing shakes the folding fan in his hand. One is cold and the other is cold, and the situation of Fang Han is now low. If you can cultivate to the supernatural powers, 10 heavy, then you can fight with the giants of the ancients. If under normal circumstances, his raging fire will not pass. This time under great pressure, maybe True can survive the fire. You mean that Fang Han is under great pressure to inspire all potentials and survive the wind and fire? Is this possible? Liu Dao was shocked. But this is too dangerous? The current achievement, taking this risk, is not worth it. Don't take this risk. Do you think that Fang Han can survive the storm? If you don't have the extreme danger and stimulate all his potential, you can't get through the fire. You are quite good at Liu Dao. His golden Dan is too far off the sky, and 90 kinds of supernatural powers are all sacred, and if the raging fire is in the ordinary, it is impossible to get through. When it starts, it is burned to ashes, robbing the wind, from the inside out, and instantly as annihilation. Mr. Shuijing shook his head. When we were in the middle of a raging fire, which one is not a war, the higher the power, the bigger the robbery, this is the rule of heaven. I think of the time when I was in Jintong. 50 kinds of magical powers have been cultivated. The master has been able to rob him for the sake of me. I will spare no effort to repair the millennium and help me calculate and prepare for it. I am also dead for a lifetime. The whole body has been robbed by fire, only the head is left, and later the master is helping. I turned around. I have the present achievements. I was the same in the same year. Liu Dao's eyes were sharp. If Fang Hanzi is really able to survive the storm, then he will accomplish it, but I am still above us. It is no wonder that Ling Long Xianzuan is like this to him. Fancy. You can only use 30% of the strength. It is really wrong. If I can use all the power, I will find that this Wan Lian mountain will not be left with slag. Why bother with him? Fang Han's hands-on experience is also very unremarkable. Although his Jindan core has been sealed by the great wishes, he can use all the power for the time being, but he is not allowed to violently shake hands and shake the power of the big wish. Then, the golden fire of the Jindan kernel broke out completely, and it was extremely dangerous. If he can use the power of Huangquan too, he can also wipe out Wan Lian Mountain, but now Huangquan cannot be used. If the Huangquan figure comes out, the sun and the moon will fly away, and the loss will be too big. However, although he was wronged, Fang Han's eyes were spinning and fierce. If anyone saw the fierceness in his gaze, he would be shocked. The detachment was the evil spirit that climbed out of hell. Seeing what to eat, it seems to be a lone wolf on the grassland, looking for prey to bite. Fang Han, you seem to have lost the fierceness. Is it because Jin Dan is too strong, reaching the peak, to trigger a fire? So you can't make all the power. Wan Lian Mountain used the Haitian incarnation to command the heavens and the earth, wrapped the square cold in it, and used the fierce pressure of Shentong. At the same time, it was in the protection of Zwantiangwiling, and it was safe and sound. He also noticed that Fang Han did not properly. I immediately understood how it happened. After all, he is also a master of practice for hundreds of years, the first true biography of Wangquixian Island, rich experience in monastic practice, but also a person who has survived the raging fire. I still don't understand why Fang Han suddenly became weak. However, he did not relax his vigilance, ridiculed and stimulated the feeling of cold. While secretly preparing, brewing savings must be defeated in one fell swoop. He also saw that although Fang Han could not use all the power, he had to subdue Fang Han, but it was a difficult thing. The other party was too slippery, and the 5 emperors were able to restrain all the 5-way martial arts, their own ***** incarnation. The law of heaven and earth is smothered and restrained. His current strength is the power of 5 or 6 million horses. There is no way to compare with Fang Han, but Fang Han's power is now suppressed, and he can only use 30% of his strength, so he is trapped. Fang Han. In order to strengthen your strength, you forcibly plunder all kinds of supernatural powers, and your mood is unstable. 90 kinds of magical powers in your golden Dan, almost all of them are not cultivated by themselves, but plunder others lacking a kind of magical power. The deep understanding, the greater the magical power, the more robbery, not to mention that you are not self-cultivating. So your fire and catastrophe will let you know what is called the rule of heaven. You can't get through the fire. You will fly completely. Ash is annihilated. Now you still have a chance to admit defeat, go down the platform, or fight again. You can't suppress the fire in the core of Jin Dan. When the wind and fire add, I don't do it, you yourself turn into dust. Seeing that Fang Han was slow to wander here, Wan Lianshan once again shouted, and there was a sound of demon devil in the voice, which was the tidal anger in Wangquixian Island. Wan Lianshan, I am playing with you, you are still serious, I call you dead, you will die. Fang Han body shakes, once again shocked more than 100,000 times, a powerful idea broke out. What is the sky, what is the Tao? What is the rule? You have a small magical mystery that can be understood. The natural selection of the world, the survival of the fittest, the weak meat, the plundering of the supernatural powers, the brave and vigorous, the intense crushing, the vertical and horizontal world. Realm, you can understand it. Bang! At this time, Fang Han was too lazy to be alone with Wan Lian Mountain. The top of his head was golden, and the golden light and the fine spirits were like a practice. The spread was in all directions and traversed from east to west. The snails blow big and the drums blow. Jin Dan fluctuated. Fang Han finally sacrificed his own Jin Dan, regardless of his full use of Shentong, will break the seal of the great wishes, causing the fire and catastrophe, killing Wan Lianshan first. He seems to understand some truths. His own fire and robbery is a very heavy robbery. I am afraid it is difficult to get through the past, and this time Ling Long Shentuan arranged this contest, and used the big wish to temporarily stop himself. The fire was raging. It is possible to help yourself and let yourself in this battle to fully stimulate your potential and survive the storm. A thought of Ming Wu, Fang Han is no longer scrupulous. I am not afraid of the upcoming catastrophe. He has to look at it. He has cultivated 90 kinds of magical powers, and how powerful it is. For the upcoming robbery, there is great courage in the heart. Boom! When Jin Dan came out, he suddenly ruptured the Wan Lian Mountain, sea gods, and the huge waters were everywhere. Fang Han's body kept changing. Jin Dan once again inhaled the body, and the sputum disappeared without a trace. Oops! This guy is able to play his full strength. Wan Lianshan was shocked. The sea ***** incarnation was destroyed by the law of the heavens and the earth. He immediately knew that it was powerful. Fortunately, the law of the heavens and the earth was a condensed spirit. After being shattered, it could be concise and consumed at most. At this moment, he took all the avatars that had been shattered back into the body, and the whole body exudes a blue and smooth, rising from the sky, and fighting against Fang Han. However, the speed of Fang Han was much faster than him. When he flew up, a huge fist broke out, as if in the midst of it, the ancient demon ***** hit a punch that destroyed the earth. Hey! This punch was on the body of Wan Lianshan. The Zhuangtiangwiling on his body broke out again with a strong milky white brilliance, but it was of no use. The white brilliance was under the punch of this ancient demon god. The rupture, the hard armor, one after another burst, and Fang Han forced to squeeze out of the chaotic airflow. The whole body is tall, eyes are like an eagle, and the back is dragged out in the back. The aperture is bombarded with one hand, while the other hand is generally open, the 5 fingers are propped up, and the palm is pressed down. In the center of the palm, a circle of golden brilliance, a magical flow of a door. He even concentrated his golden dragon on his hand, grabbing it with a claw, like a goat eagle. Grab the head of the sky at the top of Wan Lian Mountain, and capture the other's mind with one claw. As long as there is no cultivation to the undead body, the brain is broken and it is sure to die. Fang Han is obviously irritated by Wan Lianshan's words, and the shot is killing. Breaking the opponent's world law, a punched armor, Jin Dan condensed on the palm of his hand, scratching the other's head. This time, Fang Hanjing is as old as the demon gods, murderous and arrogant, and the violent gas on his body is almost condensed into a devil in the sky. The wind creaked and the ghosts cried. Fang Han, you are fooled. Do you really think that I am doing this a little bit? I will let you know, because of what I ranked 4th on the longevity list. In Fang Han, counterattack, Wan Lianshan eyes suddenly there was a strange smile, which seemed to be in the cold. On top of his head, suddenly a glimpse of a brilliant orb, the vaguely revealing the shadow of Wan Lian Mountain itself. It turned out to be a bead that resembled the ***** of the sea, but it was far less powerful than the sea god, but it was also a substandard. Sea soul beads. The second god. This is actually the essence of a sea soul condensed into a treasure, and then Wan Lianshan refining into a second god. This is why he ranked 4th on the list of longevity candidates. He actually became the second ***** with the same smoke and water. The second god, resisting a hand that Fang Han grabbed into his head. Hey. The second **** of this sea soul bead ruptured, but it could not withstand the magic hand of Fang Han, but it was good for a while. At this moment, Wan Lianshan's eyes flickered, and the mouth was sprayed. It was a powerful magic weapon. This powerful magic weapon is like a shark. It has a sword, a flying knife, and some like a treasure ship. A thunder of lightning was sprayed from the treasure ship. Scorpio shark boat. Zhongpin Dao. This is Wan Lianshan's powerful instrument for the secret weapon, Wang Guixian Island refining, using hundreds of millions of evil sharks and souls, and taking advantage of the Millennium Scorpion, finally practicing this piece of Chinese goods. The power is enormous, especially the fierceness of the billion sharks, which is extremely powerful. It can smash the guardianship of all Taoist magic weapons. Bang! This piece of the medium-quality device flew out, the lightning flashed through the clouds, and the thunder broke out. Just a moment, it hit the body of Fang Han, so that all the people could not guard against it. This thunder is not a general thunder, but the soul of hundreds of millions of evil sharks. It is a violent thunder, a thunder of destruction, a thunder of thunder, and every explosion, it must absorb hundreds of millions of evil sharks. Being able to condense and blast is much more powerful than the Jindan explosion. Wan Lianshan showed his true means at this moment. The second **** resisted the big hand and spurted the sky sacred shark boat and bombarded Fang Han. This does not know how much wisdom and means are gathered. When I hit the square cold, I hit the body of Fang Han more than half. The body flesh and blood flies, the thunder of thunder, the power of destruction is incredibly large. Fried up. Got it. The body is destroyed, and this is dead. Wan Lianshan was overjoyed when he saw the Scorpio shark boat that he squirted and smashed the body of Fang Han. I know that I am successful. However, the loss is also very large. Every day when the sacred shark boat emits a thunder, it will consume hundreds of millions of evil sharks. Fang Han's body was smashed. There was a failure. It was defeated by Wan Lianshan. How is this possible? It seems that his realm is too low. It is normal to be crushed. Under this, Ling Longxianzuan only helped him reincarnate and reincarnation. It was a pity. This sudden change made people surprised at the place. Fang Han was smashed by the body, leaving only one head. All know that Fang Han is dead. He was bombarded with half of his body with a thunder, flesh and blood flying, leaving only one head. Those who are fascinated by the mysterious world are sure to die. Unless they are helped by the high-ranking people, they will use the supreme power to gather their souls, and then send them to the reincarnation and retransfer, and then they will have a way to live. When the devil looked at Fang Han and was bombarded, he was also taken aback. The body moved slightly and did not seem to believe in his own vision. In his calculations, he believes that Fang Han is not so easy to die. But now Fang Han is dead and can no longer die. Scorpio Shark Boat. This secret Chinese-style device, the power is really strong. And the star of the evil spirits of the ancient Buddha umbrella, 5 million days of magic together with the silence, the generation of the silence of the Zen lei is big. The power of the explosion of hundreds of millions of evil sharks. Fang Han's body was so strong that he was killed. Unfortunately, his magic weapon was difficult to figure out. The dragons on the other side of the cold are hateful, and now they see Fang Han being shattered and the heart is very happy. However, there are some pity that you can't kill Fang Han yourself. He and the wooden Taoist are planning to kill Fang Han personally. Especially in the Tai Iman teaching, the Qiandao people announced the Qiandao killing order, the moment of rewarding rewards. It is even more determined that they are determined to kill Fang Han. Hey! Ling Longxianzuan must send him a reincarnation. This son lost his flesh, at least for decades, cannot be restored. When we want to pinch him, how to pinch him? The wooden Taoist people are cold, and their intentions are horrible. Wanlian Mountain is indeed awesome, but this blow consumes the soul of hundreds of millions of sharks. His Scorpio Shark's boat has to return to the shark pool of Wangguixian Island and recultivate for several years. Only then can I reissue such a thunder, but unfortunately Fang Han, I still want to do this with this, so I worship Wan Lianshan. Jiao Fei, the first true disciple of the Tongtian swordsman, also sighed slightly. He wanted to fight with Fang Han, but he did not expect Fang Han to be killed. At the same time, he had a great taboo against the magical power of Wanlian Mountain. Wan Lianshan is the third-ranked character on the list of longevity candidates. It has been repaired into a second **** with the sea soul bead. It also spurts out the sharks of the gods and shouts out the thunder. This means of switching to us all. After all, Fang Han's cultivation is too shallow, and it's only a few years of fame. Like the Nouveau Riche, it's a subsystem of the Shongshan wolf, and it's mad. If you don't have a rich foundation, you must die. The son of the wild emperor, Xiao Manjun, shook his head. Yes, Fang Han, this is the Nouveau Riche in the secular. You see him since he entered the exquisite land, sent treasures, took medicinal herbs, and even played the long-lived mysterious giants. We cultivated deep and rich. Which one of the people will do this? Isn't this one looking for death? Now it's in the hands of Wanlianshan, and it's not awkward. A red witch in the red dust emperor. It's a pity, but it's a pity. All the faces on the face of the evil spirits are a pity, and then they are fortunate. Fang Han always wanted to join me in the birthday ceremony. Fortunately, I know that Fang Han is too exposed, and it is not a good thing. It seems that the choice is still right. Otherwise, how can I practice in the future? This time he was killed, and he had to turn around. After 18 years, he was a hero. He must have converged after he came to the world. After reincarnation, after 18 years, Fang Han is 18 years old. If he comes back, he will not be so unscrupulous. Mr. Mira, you lost. You haven't met the devil, but the cold has been defeated, but unfortunately. His body was smashed, it is abolished. He can only **** his soul to reincarnation, but even reincarnation will also encounter the fans in the womb, and the memory will kill most of them. Wan Lianshan is really hidden. 6 distracted people sighed and said to Mr. Walter Mira. That's not necessarily, Fang Han may turn defeat into victory. Mr. Shuijing shook his head. The person who looks at the exquisite fairy will not be killed so easily. His body is strong and his life is more intense than ever. There are some weirdness. The body is smashed, and it will die. Unless it is the strongest person who lives in a long-lived secret. How can it be defeated? Liu Dao smiled and said, this son is indeed lacking some fire, no fairy temperament, arrogant the cheesy is too heavy. Maybe Ling Long Shentuan took this opportunity to let him turn to a robbery and kill the cheesy. Let's wait and see. Mr. Shuijing waved his hand. At this time, on the platform, the confrontation between Fang Han and Wan Lianshan has completely gained the upper hand from Wan Lian Mountain. Fang Han, since you entered the exquisite blessings, what you did, like the people in the fairy tales, like the nouveau riche in the secular, the rich man, where there is a little bit of sacred bones. You are not suitable for cultivation, even if you have an adventure, it's just a quick time, I will send you a robbery once, let you come to the world, know what is called immortal. A thunder broke the body of the cold, and the whole body of Fang Han was bombarded with only one skull left. Wan Lian Mountain was open to the public, like a mountain, and stood tall, showing the wind bones of the fairy. Indeed, his image is much more savory than what Fang Han did. He tried his best to repair his second god, and at the same time, he took the command of the heavens and the earth, and the sea ***** incarnation flew out, violently suppressing the head to Fang Han, while the middle of the Taoist, the secret magic weapon, Scorpio Shark, in one after the thunder. It seems that the power has weakened a lot, and he swallowed it again. He also wants to take advantage of Fang Han's body. He first suppresses Fang Han's head and then can find the baby and confiscate a few pieces in an instant. Where do you know, just in this moment of change, Fang Han was smashed in the flesh, those flesh and blood, vitality, suddenly formed a path of the symbol, a piece of seed, a line of silk, the network, seems to be regenerated a line of meridians, bones. The void is distorted, the powerful force fluctuates, and his smashed body recombines into a more powerful body, and the head merges into one. The powerful force erupts from the flesh and blood of every inch of body. As the footsteps stepped, the space fluctuated, the body moved, the 8 sides of the wind rolled together, the powers were overwhelming, and the 10 parties were trembled under his power. Wan Lianshan, do you think you can kill me? You said that I am not a fairy person? Then I will use magical power to tell you what is called Jian Dao. Fang Han punched out, Jin Dan once again suspended in the top of the head, the power instilled down, all kinds of magical powers completely violently, dominating the world, the king of the world. Boom! In this fist, he hit the bodyguards of Wan Lianshan and beat him to the arrogance. The body was hit hard into the platform of the sacred light, and was beaten into it. Immortal. Break up the body, you can recombine. Reagglomerate, this is the body of immortality. The longevity secret, the ancient giant, can have the ability. How can Fang Han have? What? Undead. Nothing wrong, this is the body that is not dead. The body is completely smashed, and it can be reorganized and condensed. The mana is boundless, the magical power is vast, and it is not dead or powerful. But he is obviously a supernatural power, and the people of Jindan realm. Even if it is the first person in the longevity and secret world, and it is impossible to reorganize when it is broken by the flesh. What is this? At this point, the situation is reversed. Fang Han reorganized the flesh, and the king was in the world, giving everyone a strong and powerful shock. All the people who said that Fang Han had already lost his death could not believe his eyes and thought that he was dreaming. I don't die, how is it possible? Tongjian Jianpai Jiafei is also dumbfounded. He can't imagine why Fang Han's body will be reorganized. It is obviously broken up. The devil handsome also stood up fiercely, and a pair of eyes flashed, and the eyebrows seemed to be a vague opening. In the secret observation of everything on Sunday. This hidden vertical eye seems to be a secret magical power of his cultivation, and it seems to be a magic weapon. Fang Han is so powerful? I read it wrong? What is the ability in this? How can it have such a terrible ability? The fairy magic too, even the monster, the demon, the demons. There is no such ability. Only Jindan realm, it has an undead body. The son of the wild priest, Xiao Manjun, stunned. Wooden people, this is the body of immortality. We are not dead, we don't have such ability. What kind of person is this cold? Can you have this ability? Longdao people saw the ability of Fang Han, and almost lost. I saw it. This is not simple. We have more to kill him. Longdao people killed this son, and smelt his flesh and blood into a remedy, we swallowed, and certainly can be made into an immortal body. There is a lot of excitement in the tone of the wooden Taoist. Water mirror, Fang Han, what is this ability? There is no living creature in the heavens and the world. It is made in the realm of Jin Dan and it is not dead. But the undead body of Fang Han is obviously flawed. It seems that the skull is not completely refining, it is only half an undead body. And it is far less powerful than the longevity and mystery. 6 scattered people saw some clues. In the heavens and the earth, there is a living being, and it is possible to refine it into an undead body in the realm of Jin Dan. Mr. Shuijing said quietly. You mean? The asterisk of the Protoss has cultivated the seeds of the true God. The 6 distracted people were shocked. Is Fang Han the king of the Protoss? That must be not. If he is the asterisk of the Protoss, he has already been recognized. Mr. Shuijing said, he is probably getting some kind of adventure, killing the gods in the Protoss and getting them. The seeds of the true God, then integrated into the body, repaired into a half-undead body. Powerful. The power of the gods of the Protoss is poison for our monks. How can it be refining? Maybe that Huangquan map has a magical effect. All the people were shocked by the reorganization of Fang Han after being beaten up and showing the ability to not die. Even some of the elders of the exquisite blessings, even the autumn drizzle, shook their heads fiercely. This is impossible, it is impossible. Fang Han, how can you cultivate it into an undead body? This is absolutely impossible. It is impossible. Under the ring, some masters are shocked, but the most incredible is the Wan Lianshan that fights Fang Han. This is the first true disciple of Wangguixian Island. He had thought that he would win the game, but he did not think that Fang Han was so powerful, beyond his imagination, and was smashed and condensed. This surprise is no small feat. He originally thought that Fang Han was just a villain who had gotten an adventure because since Fang Hanjin's exquisite blessings, he has been arrogant, and he has gone out of his way, even knowing that the ancient giants who live and play the longevity secrets are not owned by the immortals. The style, so deep in his heart, very despised the behavior of Fang Han. And he always believes that he can overcome the cold, at least his own soul is much stronger than this. However, Fang Han actually became an undead body, which is simply defeating all the beliefs in his heart. Such a villain, who is mad at the upstart, is so powerful, how can he not collapse? Boom! At this time, Fang Han completely occupied the upper hand. The whole person stood on the platform of the 3,000 feet in the vertical and horizontal, succumbing to the world, not dying, stepping on the air step by step, and the whole body sent out squats, shakes, shocks, surges. Vibrate, walked over to Wanlian Mountain, a powerful momentum, tyrannical Jindan, condensed into an egg-shaped canopy, landed down, shrouded the entire ring, and prevented Wanlian from flying. Wan Lianshan. You said that I have no immortality? In fact, I have broken through the roots and reached a realm that you can't reach at all. Everything in this world, all kinds of causes, are made up of forces. In the world, except for force, besides, there is no other thing. Mana, power, willingness, karma, financial power, everything is power, only power, it is true and true. I will give you a good lesson today. Let you understand what is the real fairy. Fang Han's word was a word, and the gods swept the shot, covering the Wanlian Mountain. Wanlian Mountain has just been beaten by Fang Han, but because there is a Taoist defensive armor, Qian Gui Ling, and the second Yuan Shanhai soul beads also income in the sea, there is double protection, no injuries. It was only the temperament that was shocked. He walked over in Fang Han step by step. He also knew that he had encountered the most serious crisis in his cultivation career. Qian 9 changes, the flesh and the gods, changed thousands. Wan Lianshan body trembled again and again. The command of the heavens and the earth, sea incarnation, second, sea soul beads, repeatedly used, and his feet also appeared a boat that resembles a shark and exudes endless fierceness. This is the magic weapon at the bottom of his pressure box, Scorpio shark boat, but at this moment, it is no longer able to emit a ***** thunder. Because the evil spirits of the billion sharks inside have been consumed. Just like the death of Zen that kills the evil spirits, the 5 million day demon is gone, and it is necessary to collect the demon again. However, although it is impossible to emit a ***** mine, it is still a medium quality device, guarding the body, extremely stable, and the long-lived mysterious giants are not necessarily able to break through. Wan Lianshan has exhibited all his skills, and he is worthy of the 4th-ranked strongman on the list of longevity candidates. Whole body wrapped in a turtle shell, I want to escape my blows, infatuation. Fang Han stepped on the mysterious pace, urging the White Emperor Golden Emperor, high-speed shock, a tangible, invisible streamer bombarded the Black Emperor Water Emperor boxing, the golden water is stirring. In an instant, there were a total of 129,600 punches, and the punches of $1 rushed out. All of them hit the Wanlian Mountain's treasures, and suddenly, Baoguang was shaken, and many suffocates. The big array broke again. There are 3 pieces of Taoist, Xianqian Gailing, Haishentsu, Jianzhu Shensha boat, protecting the body. Wanlian Mountain seems to be a bit unstoppable. Fang Han. You can't break my protection. I have 3 pieces of equipment in my body. It's a golden soup. You still sacrifice your Huangquan map. Let me see the first treasure of this magic door. What is the best? Let's go. Wan Lianshan body swayed again and again, and both palms shook, and they also displayed a set of palms. They were put together with Fang Han. This set of palms is also a supernatural power. The strength of Wan Lai Ma Bengteng, although not as good as the Bohai Gulan's Hang of the smoke, but also extremely fierce, stretching like the tide of the ancient times, rushing. This is the school of Wangguixian Island, the tide of the giant whale palm. Every palm is shot, there is the power of the tide. To deal with you, you still don't need Huangquan. The cold smile sounded in the space, and the whole person became a ghost-like shadow. On that hand, the 5-color brilliance flashed, and it turned out to be the 5 emperors, and in the depths of these 5 colors, there is one black hole after another, which swallows up all the vitality of Wanlian Mountain and turns it into its own. Wan Lianshan's Tide of the Giants has a tidal force in every palm. The thick water is full of waves, but all of them are swallowed by the big phagocytosis, and then the one yuan heavy water, the sunflower water essence is really integrated. The water is in the air. Hey! Wan Lianshan noticed that it was not good, and the palms were waved again and again, forming a mysterious handprint, rumbling and rumbling. By his side, there were countless giant whales made up of waves. These giant whales, there are millions of them, stacked in layers, bursting out of inexhaustible power, once again rushing toward the square. A good tidal giant whale palm. The rumor is to practice this palm. You must take the essence of the life of thousands of whales every day, mix the soul of the whale, and integrate it into the magical powers of the gods. At the end, the palms are shot, the tides are rushing, giant whales absorb water. Ordinary people master this palm, they will turn into meat sauce. Powerful. But when I met my big swallowing, I met the nemesis, I will bit by bit, absorb your tide whales. The strength of the palm enhances my strength. When Fang Han saw it, his fingers flicked again and again, and Jin Dan flew out, and a round of rotation, resisting the power of this giant whale, while Jin Dan rotated, and there was a dark rune flying inside, slightly shocked, thousands of black lines flying. The space is cut and shredded, which is the great cutting technique of cultivation. The large cutting technique cuts the tide whales of Wanlian Mountain and does not make it into a single strand. Then Fang Hanku opens his mouth and sprays again. One ***** hole is sprayed out again, and the big swallowing technique is launched, and the giants are full. Whale shadow, the power of the tide, the water and gas suction is clean. Nourish. Fang Han's Jin Dan absorbed the shadow of this giant whale, the power of the tide, after the moisture, more and more moisturizing. It seems that the raging fire inside has been ruined a little. Large phagocytosis. Wan Lianshan only felt that his body was weak, and he had some emptiness in knowing the sea. Fang Han had just absorbed his tidal power and all the whale shadows, at least he lost a full 20 years repair. His tidal whale palm, facing the tides of the waves every day, sucking the essence of the giant whales, practicing a few nails, only succeeded in cultivation, and a palm shot, it is indeed a giant whale rushing, vigorously crushing, but at this time, was swallowed by Fang Han. Lost heavily. At this point, he only knew the horror of Fang Han. The opponent can not only quickly decide, but also be able to grind hard bubbles. If you fight for a long time, your own attacks will be swallowed up and add strength to the other side. This is definitely a defeat. Fang Han is always invincible. Think about it, two people fight, one man's mana, all the suffocation is taken by another person to nourish themselves, how can this be an opponent? Fang Han shot, you can use the thunder method to kill the enemy in an instant, you can also cast a huge scorpion, peeling off the slashing water, and killing the enemy's mana. The big phagocytosis, the reason why it is called the supernatural powers, the magical demon to the high magic, its advantage is to devour any heterogeneous vitality who is its own vitality. This great phagocytosis of Fang Han is more powerful than that of some demon gods. It is the evolution of the Peng Peng giant egg. How is this big phagocytosis so powerful? It can actually devour the suffocating temperament of several realm masters. Liu Dao people saw this scene, his brow slightly wrinkled. This phagocytosis is not made by ordinary means, but it is a fusion of the life characteristics of the ancient ***** beast. The magical power cultivated by this method is to devour everything. Mr. Shui Jing said, "How, 6 scattered people I won this time." Fang Han can actually be repaired into a half-indefinite body. The body can be reorganized after being broken up, and the magical powers are already invincible. Even the deaf-mute female Fan Qingying is probably not his opponent. I don't think it is necessary. Did you see the magical handsome's eyebrows? You should have the heat in the first place and give the son of the congenital genius to his son. There should be more than 800 sons, but achievements. The highest is still the devil handsome. Liu Dao scattered people smashed the devil's eyebrows. Mr. Shui Jing also looked at the devil handsome, and saw the magical handsome's eyebrows, faintly about a vertical eye, usually hidden, but when the mana is running, it appears slightly, like the ghosts of the god's pupil. The eye of the last law. The water mirror saw this vertical eye and was taken aback, I should have given this eye to his son. This is not his own in the doomsday cemetery in the depths of the void. And the elders of a demon door, closed 1962 years, a refining eyeball? This is a Shangping Dao. At first glance, the world is broken. If you go further, you can change the world. In the era of the end of the law, Ying Tianqing has not yet cultivated to the longevity secrets, and he has given him this eyeball, which is too extravagant. There should be a few sons innate, and they have cultivated to the supernatural powers, and they have not rewarded the eyes of this law. The upper class, the eye of the end method, exhausted the innate heart, even he also hunted a few gods of the eternal life, completely offended the devil, this is refining, now give his son magic handsome, very likely it will cause more than 800 sons to kill each other. Then I don't know what to think about innate. The eye of the end method. This video is end here. Like the video and subscribe to my channel.